China's imperial history lasted more than 2,000 years, longer than any empire on earth. But China was not shaped by every emperor who sat on the throne. It was forged by a few rulers who came at turning points, moments when the empire's fate hung in the balance. Some united a fractured land. Some pushed China's borders farther than ever before. Others ruled so wisely that their reigns became legends. These emperors did more than govern. They set the direction of Chinese civilization itself. These are 5 great rulers who forged imperial China. Qin Shi Huang, the Unifier. Before Qin Shi Huang, China did not exist as a single country. It was a land of rival states, locked in centuries of brutal warfare. Qin Shi Huang ended that chaos with relentless force. He defeated his rivals, abolished old kingdoms, and declared himself first emperor, not king, not lord, but ruler of all under heaven. Then he did some things that were revolutionary. He standardized writing, laws, weights, measures, and roads, binding vast regions into a single system. He ordered massive construction projects, including early defensive walls that later became the Great Wall. His rule was harsh. Dissent was crushed. But his vision was clear. Without Qin Shi Huang, there is no unified China, only competing states. Qin Shi Huang didn't just rule China, he created it. Emperor Wu of Han, the empire builder. If Qin Shi Huang created China, Emperor Han Wudi transformed it into an empire. Under his rule, Chinese armies pushed deep into Central Asia. China expanded its influence far beyond the Yellow River heartland. This expansion opened the Silk Road, linking China to Persia, India, and the Mediterranean world. For the first time, China became a central player in global trade. But Emperor Wu's most lasting decision was not military, it was ideological. He made Confucianism the official philosophy of the state, shaping education, government, family life, and moral values. For the next 2,000 years, Chinese rulers would govern according to Confucian ideals. He expanded China's borders and defined how China would think. Taizong of Tang, the Golden Age Emperor. Tang Taizong ruled at a moment when power and wisdom briefly aligned. Under his reign, China entered one of the most brilliant periods in its history. The empire was strong but stable. Trade flourished, cities grew. Art, poetry, and learning thrived. What made Taizong exceptional was his confidence without fear. He welcomed criticism. He promoted talent over birth. He governed with restraint instead of paranoia. Foreign envoys traveled to Tang China, amazed by its wealth, organization, and sophistication. For later generations, this was the image of ideal rule. When Chinese historians described a golden age, they meant the Tang and Taizong. Yongle Emperor, the visionary. Yongle ruled with ambition on a monumental scale. He reshaped China's political center by moving the capital to Beijing and constructing the Forbidden City, a symbol of imperial power still unmatched today. But Yongle's vision extended far beyond China's borders. He sponsored vast naval expeditions led by Admiral Zheng He, fleets of enormous treasure ships that sailed across Southeast Asia and the Indian Ocean. These voyages projected Chinese power across the seas, reaching lands that Europe barely knew existed. For a brief moment, China stood as the most confident and outward-looking empire in the world. The world did not dominate China. China impressed the world. Kangxi, the stabilizer. When the Manchu Qing dynasty took power, it faced a daunting challenge, ruling a vast Chinese empire as outsiders. Kangxi met that challenge with intelligence, patience, and endurance. He ruled for over 60 years, longer than any emperor in Chinese history. During his reign, rebellions were crushed, borders secured, and the empire unified. He supported scholarship, science, and culture while maintaining firm control over the state. Under Kangxi, and briefly his grandson, the Qianlong Emperor, China reached its final imperial high point, wealthy, expansive, and stable. It was the last great age of imperial China. These rulers lived centuries apart and faced very different challenges. But each came at a moment when China needed a different kind of leadership: the power to unify, the ambition to expand, the wisdom to govern, the vision to look outward, and the patience to preserve stability. Imperial China was not forged by one man, but by rulers who understood their moment in history and shaped it. History is full of great rulers, but greatness depends on timing as much as talent. So what do you think? Which emperor truly shaped China the most? Leave your choice in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey through China's imperial past, subscribe for more history that goes beyond the surface, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next.